today's session, we're going to continue on the series on leadership and workforce alignment and engagement. I can't stress enough the importance of getting leadership and workforce aligned and engaged in improving the organizational performance. It's a necessary condition if you want to be a high-performing organization. If you are struggling with change or struggling with a lot of issues within the company, we need that leadership alignment. We need that leadership engagement. We need that workforce alignment and engagement so everyone's on the same page, so we're all working towards a common goal. So if what you're doing today isn't achieving exceptional results, you need to do something different. To do something different, we need people to buy into what that something different is. And then once we get that buy-in, it's amazing what results can be achieved when we work as a team and have the right mindset of driving the right initiatives towards breakthrough improvement for the company. Today's session, we're going to talk about dealing with resistance, specifically in a group setting. So we want to understand the techniques to achieve buy-in by overcoming resistance in a group. So if you've ever gone to a meeting and you go into the meeting and you propose either a solution or you talk about a problem that you're having or the organization's having, a lot of times there's disagreement on either the problem that you're discussing, or you present an idea and there's 100 reasons why we can't do it, and you just walk out of the meeting frustrated, and it's like, I don't know why I even try, because it's like nobody listens, and you just get frustrated and you conform to the culture. To change that, you need to understand how to deal with resistance in a group setting, and this is extremely difficult to do. So I recommend that you start one-on-one and get good at overcoming resistance on a one-on-one level with somebody so that you get good at the technique. So definitely don't try to go into a group setting and try to overcome resistance in a group setting. You'll just walk out of the group more frustrated than what you would if you did nothing. So let's first talk about the layers of resistance. So the first layer of resistance is why change. So you're going to have some people in the group that don't even understand why we need to change, or don't even understand that there's a problem. So you need to get those people on board first. Then once you do that, you're going to have disagreement on what the actual problem is, or a disagreement on the issue that we're dealing with. So the next step is to overcome that layer. The next layer is you're going to have disagreement on the direction of the solution. So what's the solution? And I would recommend that in a group setting, just try to get through these first three layers. Don't go further than this. Get agreement on the problem, get agreement on the direction of the solution, and then step away and then come back at the next session and try to go to layer three, which is disagreement on the details of the solution. So you got to have time between when you get disagreement on the direction of the solution and then what are the details of the solution. So you need to go back and do your homework. You can't facilitate this all in one session. Layer four, getting disagreement on the negative ramifications. So once you get agreement on the direction of the solution, there'll be a bunch of, yes, I agree, but then they see negative consequences of that solution. So then you're going to work through those negative consequences and come up with the solutions to those negative consequences, and then you're going to have a complete solution. And then it'll move to layer five, where you have disagreement on the details of the implementation. So again, I recommend in meeting one going through layer 0, 1, 2, meeting two going through 3 and 4, and then stepping away, coming back and working on what are the details we need to implement this solution, and then come back to the last meeting and talk about layer 5, disagreement on the details, and then layer 6, disagreement of the risks or unverbalized fear. So again, this is a multi-step process, especially in a group setting, to get the group moving and get consensus and alignment with the goal of everyone agreeing on the details of what we need to do and the impact that that solution is going to have for the organization. So when we look at the change management matrix, this 4-box matrix, we have the positives of not changing, the positives of change, the negatives of not changing, and the negatives of change. And so when you're looking at resistance, you're going to have people in some of these boxes. So typically layer 0, they're in this box here, the positives of don't change. So they're like, everything's going fine. Why do we need to change? I don't see any problems. I don't see any issues. So they're in this layer 0 of why change. Then you're going to have people in the layer 1, which disagree on the problem. So they understand that all the alligators and negative effects that we're seeing, but they don't understand the problem that's creating that. So they might have a different perception on what is the problem that's causing all these negative effects that we're seeing. So they agree that there's problems, but they don't agree on what is the problem. And then you're going to have people in this box here where they understand we need to change, they understand what the problem is, but they disagree on the direction of the solution. So they only see the negatives of the change that you're proposing. So you're going to have people in all three of these boxes, and you need to systematically take them through to all agree on the positives of the change or the pot or goal we're trying to achieve. So that's how we use the 4-box matrix going through the buy-in process. Now, the buy-in process is opposite of the resistance to change. So first we agree that there's a problem, then we agree on the problem, then we agree on the direction of the solution, we agree on the details of the solution, then we agree on the negative ramifications can be resolved, then we agree on the details of the implementation, then we agree on the risks that can be mitigated. If you systematically walk through these steps, you're going to have a complete solution that's going to achieve breakthrough improvement for the company. So one of the processes we can use to work the team through these different steps is our conflict resolution process, and that's agreeing on the problem. So if you get agreement that there is a problem, the next step is to get agreement on what is the problem. So there can be a conflict between the actions we're taking to achieve the needs of the system or the organization. So first we want to verbalize and document the conflict. So get clear verbalization and documentation of the conflict, then raise the assumptions around the conflict, then invalidate one or more of the assumptions, find an injection that breaks the conflict, review the injection that's a win-win solution and it satisfies both parties' needs. So once we get an agreement on that, you're going to get past layer 1, which is we agree on the problem. And again, the generic cloud is we have some objective we're trying to accomplish, there's some need we need to satisfy to achieve that objective, and there's some action we're taking to satisfy that need. On the other side, there's also a secondary need that's needed to achieve the objective, and the action that we're taking to satisfy that need is typically in conflict with the action to satisfy the other need. And what we don't want is a compromise. We don't want to satisfy the partial needs of these two needs for the objective, because then we don't achieve the objective. So the goal is to raise the assumptions between the action and the need, invalidate one of those assumptions, and then that'll break the conflict once we put an injection in place. And we wanted to be able to verbalize this cloud by reading from the objective to the need to the action using necessity thinking, in order to we must, and then we read from the action to the need to the objective using causality, using if-then logic. So that's the generic cloud. You need to be good at developing generic clouds, and then again do it one-on-one. Once you get good on one-on-one, then move to a group setting. And again, remember the non-negotiable element of the cloud is the objective and the two needs. Next, if you can't use the conflict cloud concept, then develop a problem statement that is usually 1 or 2 sentences that explains the problem that you're trying to solve. Then make a problem statement that will outline the negative points of the current situation and explain why this matters. Describe it as an undesirable gap between the current state level of performance and the desired state level of performance that you want to achieve. And some notes here: don't put causes in your problem statement, and don't put solutions in your problem statement. So I've seen these two problems before where they're putting causes in the problem statement, where they're putting solutions in the problem statement. It needs to be a clear, concise statement of the problem that you're trying to address. So that's our session for today. Again, remember the buy-in process, remember the stages, practice one-on-one, get good at going through the layers of resistance and getting the buy-in, then practice in a group setting. I would practice with your peers that are advocates of what you're trying to do first and let them role play. So role play is a great way to learn. So role play with your peers, with your internal advocates before you go into a group setting that's more hostile. So that's our session for today. Thanks for joining. Connect with me on LinkedIn, visit our website, go to our YouTube channel where we have lots of videos on how to achieve breakthrough improvement in organizations.